But if you ask for an apology, you'll never be satisfied. So on The View last week, Whoopi Goldberg talked about how the Great Britain needs to apologize for their role in slavery. Why? What does the apology do? Slavery happened, it's over. They probably ain't sorry, just like Will ain't sorry for smacking Chris Rock. You know what I'm saying? Jada ain't sorry for entanglements and shit. Like, why the hell they need to say I'm sorry? Somebody's like, well, acknowledgement. I can acknowledge that they took part in slave trade. I acknowledge. None of the people alive took part in it. So what's the apology? So if I beat you up, my unborn son can apologize to your unborn son and say, hey man, I'm so sorry my daddy beat your daddy up back in the day. Huh? What does that do? And then I get into it with a guy in the comments. He's like, well, it opens the door for reparations, look at what happened with this and that. Like, I'm like, well, who gonna make them do that? The United Nations. Yeah, okay. All right, yeah. Because here's what happens, right? If England apologizes, then there's gonna be pressure for America to do the same thing. And then you think the United Nations can hold the United States and one of our best allies, Great Britain, the UK, accountable for anything. United Nations. To say United States and its nations. You understand what I'm saying? Like, it sounds good in a vacuum, but in reality, in practical application, it's not gonna happen. And I wish that more people would stop living in the theoretical world, live in the world that we're living in. Like, understand that? Like, people get so caught up on, well, if this happens, and then that will happen because that's the right thing to happen. Yeah, in a vacuum. But guess what? Nobody lives in a vacuum. Why? Because a bunch of dirt and dust in there, and you'll be all the time. We live out here. We need more space than a vacuum provides for us, right? We need some air to breathe. We need the option to make decisions based on what's in front of us, not on what should and could happen. No. So yes, in a vacuum, it would be nice for anybody who had slaves and took part in slave trade to not apologize. I don't need your damn apology. To right the wrong and set up those generations who were set back, those people who were set back, help them catch up to those who have benefited from those injustices. That's what we want. We got to stop asking for this notional stuff. But if all you want is an apology, you'll never be satisfied. Because what they say, shoot for the stars, maybe you'll land on the moon, or shoot for the moon, maybe you'll land on a star, even though the stars are further away than the moon. But you know the point, right? Ask for more than you actually want. So hopefully you can get what you want. But instead, we just ask for what we want. Well, I just want this. Good for you. Here's what I'll do. We'll give you Juneteenth off. We will change Columbus Day to Indigenous Peoples Day. We will pass and sign the Anti-Lynching Act finally to make lynching a federal hate crime. Even though it's already murder. And then y'all open up that box of rich crackers. You eat it up. And you wonder why you're still hungry.